The story of Santa Claus begins long ago, not in the snowy North Pole, but in a sunny place now called Turkey. A kind man named Nicholas lived there in the 3rd century. He was a bishop known for his incredible generosity and his love for children. He didn't ride a sleigh with reindeer, but his heart was full of the same spirit of giving that we know today. He dedicated his life to helping others, especially those who were poor or in trouble. His kindness was so great that stories about him spread far and wide, making him famous across the lands. He became a symbol of hope for many people. One of the most famous legends about St. Nicholas tells of 3 poor sisters. Their father did not have enough money to provide them with dowries, which meant they could not get married. And Nicholas heard about their sad situation and wanted to help, but he wanted to do it in secret. For 3 nights in a row, he went to their house and tossed a bag of gold coins through an open window. This secret gift saved the family and allowed the daughters to get married. This act of quiet, selfless giving is one of the first seeds of the Santa Claus story we cherish. Another powerful story tells of his love for children. During a terrible famine, a wicked butcher tricked 3 young boys intending to harm them. The legend says that St. Nicholas discovered this evil plan and through a miracle brought the boys back to life, safe and sound. This incredible tale made him the patron saint of children, their special protector and friend. People began to honor him every year, celebrating his feast day on December 6th. On this day, children would receive small gifts. A tradition started to remember the good bishop's kind heart. These tales of secret gifts and protecting the innocent formed the foundation of our modern Santa. The story of him dropping gold into the house evolved over time. Some versions say the gold landed in stockings that were hanging by the fireplace to dry. This is why many children still hang stockings today, hoping for a special surprise from a kind visitor in the night. St. Nicholas was a real person whose acts of kindness were so powerful that they started a tradition that has lasted for centuries, slowly transforming into the magical figure we know as Santa Claus. As the stories of St. Nicholas traveled across Europe, they began to mix with local customs and ancient legends. Each culture added its own unique flavor to the tale. In some places, the kind bishop took on features of older pagan figures. For example, in Norse mythology, there was a powerful god named Odin. Odin had a long white beard and would ride his 8-legged horse, Sleipnir, across the winter sky. He would lead a great hunt, and children would leave boots filled with straw for his horse, hoping Odin would leave a gift in return. This image of a bearded figure flying through the night sky sounds quite familiar, doesn't it? In the Netherlands, St. Nicholas became known as Sinterklaas. This version of the saint was a tall, stately bishop who wore red robes and arrived each year on a steamboat from Spain. He didn't come alone. He was accompanied by helpers. On the evening of December 5th, Dutch children would leave their shoes by the fireplace filled with a carrot or some hay for Sinterklaas's white horse. If they were good, Sinterklaas would leave them treats and small presents. This Dutch tradition would later travel across the ocean and play a huge role in shaping the American Santa Claus. Meanwhile, in other parts of Europe, different gift bringers were celebrated. In Germany, a new figure was introduced by the Protestant reformer Martin Luther. He suggested that gifts should be brought by the Christkind, or Christ child, an angelic figure with golden hair. This is where the name Kris Kringle comes from. In Scandinavia, the gift bringer was originally a figure from pagan Yule celebrations, the Yule goat or Yule Bakken. And over time, this goat figure merged with the idea of a small gnome or elf, becoming the Yule Tomt in Sweden, a little creature who brought presents on Christmas Eve. These various characters show how the spirit of winter gift-giving was alive all over Europe, even if the person delivering the gifts looked very different from place to place. In Italy, a kind witch named Befana delivers presents on the eve of Epiphany, and in Spain, the three wise men bring gifts to children. Each of these traditions, from the mighty Odin to the little Yule Tomt, added a layer to the growing legend. They all shared the idea of a magical visitor who brought joy and presents during the darkest, coldest time of the year, paving the way for a single unified character. When Dutch settlers came to America, they brought their beloved Sinterklaas traditions with them. For a long time, he remained a regional figure, but in the 19th century, American writers and artists began to create a brand new version of this holiday hero. A writer named Washington Irving wrote stories about New York's Dutch history, describing a jolly St. Nicholas who flew over the rooftops in a wagon, delivering presents to good children. And this was the first step in transforming the stern bishop into a more cheerful and magical character, one that was uniquely American. And the biggest change came in 1822 with a famous poem, A Visit from St. Nicholas. You probably know it as 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. The poem, written by Clement Clarke Moore, gave us the Santa we recognize today. It described him not as a tall bishop, but as a jolly old elf with a round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. Moore also gave him a magical sleigh pulled by 8 tiny reindeer, each with its own name. This poem was incredibly popular and created a new, enchanting image of Santa Claus for families across America. Now that Santa had a new personality, he needed a new look. The person who gave him his iconic appearance was a cartoonist named Thomas Nast. Starting in the 1860s, Nast drew hundreds of pictures of Santa for Harper's Weekly magazine. He was the one who decided Santa lived at the North Pole and had a workshop where he made toys. Nast drew him as a stout, cheerful man with a big white beard wearing a fur-trimmed suit. While the suit was sometimes brown, Nast often colored it red, which slowly became Santa's signature color. He also drew Santa checking his list of naughty and nice children. This American version of Santa was much different from his European ancestors. He was no longer a religious saint or a fearsome god. He was a grandfatherly figure whose only job was to bring happiness and gifts to children on Christmas Eve. He didn't punish naughty children, he simply passed them by. This very friendly, approachable Santa became the standard image in the United States. His transformation was complete, from a Turkish bishop to a Dutch saint, and finally into the jolly, red-suited resident of the North Pole that the world would soon come to love. The final touch on Santa's modern image came not from a poem or a cartoon, but from advertising. In the 1930s, the Coca-Cola company hired an illustrator named Haddon Sundblom to create paintings of Santa for their Christmas ads. While Santa was already wearing red in many illustrations, Sundblom's paintings made the red suit iconic. He painted Santa as a large, warm, and incredibly friendly man with rosy cheeks and a twinkle in his eye. This version of Santa was so appealing and appeared so widely that he became the definitive image for people all around the world. These advertisements helped spread the American version of Santa Claus far beyond the United States. as movies, television shows, and products featuring this jolly figure traveled the globe. He was adopted by many different cultures. In some countries, he joined their existing holiday traditions, while in others, he became the main event. The image of a cheerful man in a red suit climbing down chimneys to deliver presents became a powerful and universally understood symbol of Christmas magic. He was no longer just American, he was a global citizen. Today, Santa Claus represents more than just presents under the tree. He is a symbol of generosity, kindness, and the pure joy of giving. His story encourages us to think of others and to find happiness in making people happy. He reminds children to be good, not out of fear of punishment, but in the hopeful expectation of a reward for their kindness. In the act of writing letters to Santa, telling him your wishes, is a tradition that connects children to a sense of wonder and magic that is very important during childhood. From a real-life saint in Turkey to a magical being at the North Pole, the evolution of Santa Claus is a beautiful story of how traditions can grow and change over time. He has borrowed a white beard from a Norse god, a red suit from a bishop's robe, and a jolly spirit from an American poem. No matter what he is called, Santa Claus, Father Christmas, or Kris Kringle, his message remains the same. He is the embodiment of the Christmas spirit, a timeless symbol of goodwill and happiness that brings families and communities together in celebration and love.